guy is a ball player. When he throws that spiral, that tight spiral, it is a straight shot. Those routes that he is able to get out of his guys, it is incredible. This guy is going to do a lot of things in the NFL.
He can make all the throws. He can throw to a spot anywhere in the field.
Yeah.
He's got the leadership, those intangibles that you need for your team.
Yeah, and if he is able to get it into the end zone, that's 6 points right there.
That's it.
That's 6 points.
Well, then they do the extra point. That's
Yeah,
7.
that's
or
an
they go for
additional
2,
point. Yeah, you can get 2 points. You can get the ball right back if you do an onside kick right there. If it's he's a great 2-minute quarterback.
Oh, hold on.
Wait.
What do we do? Oh, hello. This is Blockbuster Mentality?
I was doing our sports podcast.
Oh, yeah. Tonight is draft night. So
yes, that is true. Yes, the NFL draft. Are you into it?
I'm so on it. And that was, if you couldn't tell, we were mocking the people that we were watching on TV.
Who analyze sports.
There's nothing worse, movie commentary. Now that's where it's really at.
Yeah, that's
especially when you're doing it at your buddy's house. Sports commentary on ESPN on TV. That's lame. That's low.
And
did I just expose ourselves?
No, I think so. Well, disclaimer: we both enjoy sports.
No, we
like
do
sports, but yes, it can get old.
To answer your question about the draft, I'm a big NFL fan, which I know you are as well.
Yes,
but I'm not a college guy. For whatever reason, I never got into it. I don't really care. I don't really like this. That version of the sport is not something that I like all that well. I think the level of play is too low. There's too much randomness in the college game. You'll get like block kicks and like those kinds of things that it's just like, okay. Or there'll be like one player who's like clearly better than the rest.
Yeah.
And he just can just outrun them or something like that. So,
right. There's so many like blowout games where it's just like, what's the fun in this? But like the block kicks and stuff, the unpredictability of it, that's kind of what I like about it.
It's interesting, but when you get two good teams together, you really don't have any sense of how the game's going to go.
Yeah.
At least in the NFL, you know that there's good players on both sides here, and at least you hope that you'll get somewhat of a close contest, something like that. But in college, it's very random.
Yeah, and you could lose a game in the NFL and it not be the end of the world, which I've always hated about college. It seems like you lose a game and you have no shot at a national title or anything like that.
The college guys think of that as something that's actually a good thing because you prove that you didn't. You have to be perfect.
Right.
But that falls apart quickly because no two schedules are equal. You've got a team like Michigan who maybe doesn't. They mostly play in the Big Ten. They'll throw in Notre Dame, but they can mop up on some crappy teams.
Right.
Versus another team like say UCLA or USC, whatever, where they can be playing other teams. So it's not like they're playing teams from all over the country that really they're not. There is no equal. They try to do it with these computer programs that spit out like this one's the best, but that's nonsense.
Yeah.
So
I'm really not a big college guy at all. I don't follow any of the players. I barely know any of the players who are being drafted tonight.
I think what I'd like to see is some sort of super league, almost like a college version of the NFL, where they take say the top 30 college teams, and that's your league. Yeah. They only play each other.
Yeah. And
you don't do this like bring in Appalachian State or something like that.
Well, it kind of sounds like how soccer does it, like Premier League, stuff like that, like Manchester United, like they're all part. I don't know much about it. Yeah, they rotate depending on. Yeah, exactly.
I'd like to see something like that.
Let's invent that. We have.
Why wouldn't we invent that?
That's a thing, right?
I mean, we
could just invent something like that.
We just did, so it's done, right?
And
what's more to do?
You're a Dolphins fan, right?
I am, yeah, and I love the Dolphins. The thing about the draft, though, is that since I don't follow the college game, and I find I make fun of the comic book nerd. But the draft nerd is nearly as insufferable, if not more, than the comic book nerd.
Yeah.
And this guy only comes around once a year, really, so it's not as bad. But, he's
so bad.
He's citing 40 times. He's citing, how many bench presses of whatever. Yeah. There's like a 200, whatever, how many times you could do 200 or something like that.
This guy's 40-yard dash was a tenth of a second less than this guy, so, we got to go with him.
Well, the thing, it's the thing, too, about picking college, it's so random. The draft is so random. You have no idea which guy is going to pan out.
Yeah.
So, but because it's not a science, it's an art, and a lot of it's luck, that gives Joe Joe Blow the ability to pretend he's an expert. Because,
Right, yeah.
well, my team sucked. They should have picked this guy. See, he's on Detroit now. He's an all-pro. I told you 3 years ago to pick him.
That's
See, I'm smart.
1 out of 100 I've gotten right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. And never mind the year before he was advocating picking some other guy that was terrible and out of the league.
It's kind of like how fantasy is. Like, there's fantasy experts. It's just like, you don't know what you're talking about.
No.
Sometimes you're right. Sometimes you're wrong. Like, it's all luck.
So my approach to the draft is I want the Dolphins to pick the best player possible, but I'm not going to pretend that I know who that is.
Yeah, because they just picked someone just now, and you're like, okay, I hope he's good.
Safety from Alabama. So I don't know college. I guess if I knew college, I probably would have been familiar with the player. But I don't know.
Alabama's obviously a good team, so you got to think he's pretty good.
He won a couple awards for best defensive back of the year. I hope he's good. But even with that information I have about him, it doesn't tell me that he's going to be a good NFL player.
That is true.
Because I think Rashad Jones I have now. He's an All-Pro. I think they picked him out of the 5th round or something like that.
Oh wow! Yeah, that's
so.
Yeah, I'm not big into it. I used to be get bigger into it when Lions were like first or second pick every year. So like I knew like the players they picked could actually probably make a difference because it's like quarterbacks or wide receivers. But then Joey Harrington, those years. But Dominican Sue and Stafford, I mean, they kind of played. I mean, more so Stafford. They kind of were worth it. What were you going to say?
Well, no, but
Megatron.
How are
Megatron out of those years?
That idiot retired.
I know.
Why?
Just like Barry Sanders retired.
Just hates Detroit. Detroit killed him, right?
Basically. What were you going to say?
Well, you seem to say that you had some sort of optimism picking year after year highly, but there's no
weird.
Progress being made here. So
because they're better now.
That's a fool's.
They're better now. They're the past few years they've been on the cusp of they just need a couple more things where they could truly be contenders. Just a couple more players. So you would think I'd be more interested. Like, who are they going to pick up because this could really be the difference. Whereas, when they were picking first or second, it's like this is hopeless either way. Like one guy's not going to turn around your team,
Well,
for a while.
2 years ago, they had arguably the best defense in the league, and they still had Megatron.
Yeah.
And then they lost Sue to my Dolphins, who they let him go because.
Yeah, where is he now?
I forget. Maybe the Saints. I don't remember now.
I want to see. Yeah, something.
I forget. No, it wasn't the Saints.
Raiders? No, not Raiders. I don't know.
But the point, while you look that up, my point is, yes, he's an amazing player, but teams can sort of neutralize him. He is not your whole defense. He can't be your whole defense. He's great. They just double team him and they take him out of the game.
Right.
And unless you've got other guys in your defensive line to do that, which we found out he went to the Rams, which they actually do have a very strong defensive line with Aaron Donald. Right. But maybe there's a possibility there. But unless you've got an all-star thing, he's just a really overpriced player.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, a defensive lineman isn't going to single-handedly win any games.
Not at that price.
Right.
When you get one who's like maybe your second-round draft pick who blossoms in his third year and just is dominant for like 2 or 3 years before you have to shell out all those millions of dollars to keep him, yes, that's when it's good.
Yeah, exactly.
But when he's getting like
you
quarterback
get way more
money,
value out of it. Yeah,
he's making more money than like maybe not Drew Brees, but I don't know, Aaron Rodgers. Somebody he's like up there, right? Yeah. And that's not worth it. So
it's kind of like with movies. You find no-name actors, to star in your movies because they're cheaper price. But if they can act, you can make a franchise out of them.
Yeah, Jim Carrey was asking for like $25 million for every movie he was doing.
Oh my god,
like
he's insane. And he was able to get that in his prime.
Although we saw some of this with All the Money in the World and the reshoots of that with Mark Wahlberg.
Oh,
Remember that controversy?
Yeah, jeez. It's just like he didn't have to give up his money.
No,
like,
I know,
come on,
right?
guy, just pay her.
Yeah, he was being kind of a punk about that.
Was he though?
I don't know. I mean, I guess you got to get the best possible deal for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, but it's not his fault that they paid him that much.
That's not his fault.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not anybody's fault.
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, if we're gonna I don't want to. Actually, I don't even want to touch that discussion.
Well,
because
I pump the brakes.
Yeah, I know, because it's just a no-win.
Yeah, exactly.
But talking about movies,
that's a good idea.
Eventually, I saw Annihilation maybe a month ago. Maybe two weeks ago. I saw it. I think we had chatted about this movie, and I saw it, and I'm like, Ben, I think you need to see this movie.
Yeah.
And I think I want to do this for a show. And I don't think I said any more than that.
Right, yeah.
So you just finished this up yesterday, right?
Yeah. No, today I finished it.
Oh, today?
I finished it today, yeah.
And I noticed something that's going on with me over the last, I think, 3 movies we've done. And I was never like this before, which is to really get in deep with certain songs from movies.
Yeah.
Now, we did basically musicals or music movies. We did Sing Street. We did Once. We did La La Land.
We didn't do Sing Street yet. I want to do Sing Street.
We didn't do Sing Street.
Yeah, you saw it like in that time frame.
Yeah.
But yeah. Like you said, Once, La La Land, Amadeus.
Was there any others?
I want to say there was
No,
one
that
more.
was that our sort of trilogy?
Yeah, I guess that was the trio. Yep.
So Amadeus, but what I did was, and when I watched Once for the show, I went to Spotify, downloaded the album, and listened to my favorite songs endlessly. When we did La La Land, I did the same thing. I can't tell you how many times I've listened to City of Stars.
Yeah.
The one where the duet version.
Yeah, the duet version's so good.
I still cannot stop listening to that song.
I've tried. I've looked up tabs for it on guitar and stuff, and it's fun. It's actually fun to play on the guitar too.
It's difficult
to sing along. Yeah,
I did the same thing. Yeah. Well,
it's-
the actual like finger.
Yeah, the finger. Yeah,
It's actually not like I learned it, and I'm like, you know what? This is actually not enjoyable.
Right,
Like, maybe
yeah.
like to play the chords. Yes.
Yeah, the chords are fun. Yeah,
But the doom 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 to like to actually do all that is not fun.
Yeah.
I think that's got to be probably more enjoyable on a piano. Which, well, just to keep talking here, I'm somewhat
talking.
inspired
Talk away.
to maybe want to learn how to play that on the piano. I love it. I just want to play it. But so those I got basically, I don't know if obsessed is the right word, but I played them a lot. And in Annihilation, there's a Crosby, Stills, and Nash song called Helplessly Hoping that they play. And I've heard that song maybe 50 times over the last week.
Yeah,
I love
I
it.
flipped it on today like 3 times. I listened to it. It's like, man, I was like looking up the lyrics and everything. Like it's.
So is this something that you do? Because this is not something that I've done. And I've gotten into this thing now where I'm like diving so deep into the music of these films if a song catches me. And I think it has to be really appropriate. In Annihilation, it's very appropriate because the song is very integral to the movie.
See, that's the thing I didn't get. Like, I enjoy the song. Like, I think it's great. And every time it was on the movie, I was enthralled by it. But it didn't really, I don't know, it didn't really take me into this, it didn't grab me into the story. Okay. I just was enjoying the song. I was like, man, that's a good song. So I think for movies, like if it pulls me into the story, like Once and La La Land does, and even Amadeus, how they incorporate the music to pull you into the story. It didn't feel like it was pulling me into the story.
Okay. So I guess that we differ a little bit there. But I think that might be the only actual song in this movie.
Yeah, I think so.
There's a little,
and it's weird because they keep like playing it at different spots. Like when they do flashbacks with Nicole, what's her name? Natalie Portman. Natalie Portman and Oscar Isaac.
It's sort of like
they are playing that song in the background.
It's like their song,
right? Yeah, I guess after while watching the movie, I didn't feel much from it. I enjoyed the song, like I said, but when I started listening to it after the movie, like 3 or 4 times. Then I realized that why it was incorporated. So maybe if I watch it again, So I did I watched it and did a rewatch. And you did?
Yeah. So I think that's actually what you described is exactly what happened to me. The first time I did it, I wasn't going into the soundtrack, but then after my second viewing, that song came again. I'm like, I want to hear this again.
Yeah.
And then once you like start getting into it, then you're just like sucked in. I'm just sitting here and repeat. It's only like a 2.5 minute song.
Yeah,
it's beautiful. It's just, it's awesome. But yeah, so I've been in this thing. I can't leave the movies that we watch. I can't turn the TV off and then they go away. I can't do a show and then they go away.
Yeah.
They are sticking in my head, like in my heart,
right?
They're in my mind. They're like become, in a sense, I'm getting weird here, but they become part of me in a weird way. There's almost like an exchange. And we look at like Once. I mean, oh my goodness, what an amazing raw soundtrack, right? I mean, I'm sure you listened to that a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
La La Land again. I mean, we gushed over that, and I still love it. I got the wife listening to it.
Yeah,
she's like, she came home from work. She still hates the movie only because they don't end up together. You know?
Of course.
She's a romantic at heart. God bless her.
So does she hate La La Land too?
No,
then?
she likes La La Land.
Well,
She
Ryan Gosling's in it, so I mean.
well,
come
he's so dreamy.
on. I mean, yeah. How can you not like any guy who says he's not dreamy is a liar?
Right. But she comes and she's like, I listened to this 20 times at work. So I just put it on repeat.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same. And now it's like almost like a mind virus where you get a song in your head and it has a meaning and you see that meaning on screen and then you like sort of internalize it to what's going on in your own life.
Yeah.
It becomes its own experience, which I think is really deep in its own way. And so I wanted to bring that up and just, obviously you sharing your thoughts. So you were there too, sort of.
Yeah, I mean, music is so powerful in films. I mean, it just, I don't know. I guess, I don't know if it's because we're able to visualize, things too easily, because music has always been powerful to me, even without film. Like, I've always loved music and, are you having trouble with that?
I don't know what's going on here. Yeah. I'm not having trouble. I just...
we got technology.
We got an iPad here to keep a timer.
Yeah,
and Ben said that the screen would not time out, but yet it has. Curiously,
I lie. But music with films is, it's incredible how powerful it is, and I think some of my favorite movies are because of, or a large part, are due to the score or the actual songs, like the soundtrack in the movie.
Well, heck, I just forgot another one, Phantom Thread.
Yeah.
How many times did you listen to that soundtrack? At least a few different songs.
Right, yeah,
not
exactly.
every song, but
yeah.
And I think normally as you experience film, like you're saying, it makes you, the music makes you feel something in that moment, and then you kind of move on, right, as the film moves on. It's something else entirely to go back, like what you're saying. It's unusual for me, but maybe it's not. Is that unusual for you? Or have you
to go? I'm trying to think. I mean, because obviously La La Land, that's a musical, so that seems pretty typical.
That lends
to go
itself
back to the
more
music.
to wanting to do,
even something like Once. But yeah, I mean, for something like Annihilation, where it's like a specific song in a movie. I'm trying. Yeah, Phantom Thread. Yeah, I mean
there's
I've
not
definitely
even any
gone back
lyrics
to that.
to that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It seems like just it's weird too. I'm like having a thing where it's like, lately scores for me have been more effective. I don't know if they're just getting better at it in movies, like they know how to grab people more.
Yeah, or is it just we happen to be tapping into this thing?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either. Because we ended up on this music. We ended up doing Amadeus. We ended up on this music movie thing. Are we like both going through this, something at the same time? That's kind of what it feels like.
I would agree. Yeah, I mean. Even, we're obviously going to do it in our next show, but Logan, some of the score in that movie even has me like thinking about it, and like I don't know.
I wonder if I'll go back to that one. I haven't yet, but so it's powerful stuff, and anything that can add, I guess, an atmosphere, a feeling to a movie is great. Yeah. And if it's high quality, and what you get in Annihilation, I think, is. I don't know. It's really. I don't know how to really describe this movie to someone who hasn't watched it.
Yeah,
it's a highly atmospheric film. I think it's also highly interpretive.
Yeah, absolutely. The what I like most about the film is stuff that isn't actually spelled out for you. It's stuff that you notice just being. I don't know, but you notice it being a metaphor for something or symbol for something.
It's very open-ended, and I understand that can maybe anger certain audiences, and
like ambiguous. Yeah,
because there are no answers, and I'm not even sure if you were to talk to the director, who is
Alex Garland,
okay.
Who did Ex Machina.
I did not see that.
So this is what. This is one of the main reasons that sold me on this movie. Obviously you talking about it, and then when I realized it was Alex Garland who did it, his directorial debut was Ex Machina, which came out in 2016. Also had Oscar Isaac, Alicia Vikander. It's about artificial intelligence. Yeah. Outstanding movie. One of my favorite movies of it was 2015. But one of my favorite movies of 2015.
Really, that good?
Yeah, it's outstanding. Thought-provoking, just makes you think, and kind of, in the Blade Runner sense, because is about AI and robots, things like that.
Not like Age of Ultron cheesiness, though, right?
No, not like that.
Because you made a decent case for Age of Ultron to me about artificial, but but it's at a higher level than that.
But, yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So you were just sticking up for Marvel then?
No, shut up. Get out of here. Speaking of which, we got a Solo trailer on the TV right now, so that's cool.
Solo. I don't know. Do we need this movie still?
No, we don't need it. We don't need any movies. So,
that's not true.
No. You're right.
I need many movies.
Yes.
I don't know if I need that one.
That's true.
I'm still going to watch it.
But anyways, Alex Garland, he did Ex Machina, so that really sold me on this. But so this has a lot of themes that I guess I can see how this was the same director, because he's bringing up those questions, those underlying themes.
For me, I was just intrigued by the trailer and just be like, hey, I'll give this one a shot. Mm-hmm. And it goes in a very interesting, creative, and unique direction.
Yeah.
This is almost like an art house movie.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely is, because, again, art house movies, I definitely one of my definitions for it is that it is ambiguous. Like you're not just taken by the story, you're taken by the themes, you're taken by the tone, you're taken by the just whatever it is,
the atmosphere,
just not everything that's said in the movie. Like, oh, this happened to this character, how is it going to resolve itself? Okay, that's how it resolved itself. Great.
Right. Like a lot of crazy things that happen in real life are not really explained very well.
Right.
This movie almost reminds me if Denis Villeneuve in Arrival sort of just went off his rocker.
Yeah, I remember you told me it's like a more confusing Arrival. There were certain moments that I was getting an Arrival feel. I'm trying to think specifically what it was towards the end, I believe.
Well, the parallels aren't that far apart, because what you have is something arriving on Earth that's changing Earth.
That's true.
Right? I mean, Arrival is more straightforward plot-wise in terms of the aliens arrive on Earth, they have these things, they're floating all out of these cities, and then we need to figure out how to communicate that. It's a very, I don't want to say linear, because time-wise, it shows you different things, but the solving the problem is fairly straightforward.
Right, yeah.
This one, they don't know what they're doing.
Right, yeah, no one does.
They basically, to set the stage here, a meteor lands in some place in Louisiana in a lighthouse, and then over time has created this shimmer.
Yeah, right? Which they call it in the movie, I think, is the shimmer.
Right.
Yeah.
It looks like a prism-y thing. And all animals and people that they've sent in have not come out.
It's kind of like in Phantom Menace, those the Gungans, when they're going by and they have that big shield that comes out of that animal. It's basically it's a bigger version of that.
It's like that, yeah.
If you can visualize that, that's basically what it is.
You go in it.
But if you haven't even seen this movie, you probably shouldn't be listening to this, because we're going to get into spoilers.
Well, we are going to, go in.
We're going to rock your world. Speaking of rock your world, this movie's like an acid trip a lot too. Like you said, it is like Denis Villeneuve was like on acid and just made this movie.
We're like, well, forget about wrapping this thing up neatly. Let's just go off.
I mean, yeah, exactly.
It's chaos.
Yeah.
This movie is about chaos. It's about change. And how do you deal with that change, and trying to understand that change, which I don't know that anyone ultimately does exactly. And I think that's fair. It's a crazy scenario. It's a crazy thing that happens, and then people are just trying to deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what it is. I mean, I kept talking about the underlying themes, because I thought I was going to get to it later, but some things I wrote down here are just what the underlying themes are for this movie. That I was picking up what they were trying to interpret. Like they're depression, mental illness, self-destruction, PTSD even, and grief. That's kind of what I gathered from it, because they kept talking about cells and how they, remake themselves. And I that's one of the questions I had for the movie, was just what she was talking about with the cells and everything.
She starts early saying, well, yeah. So for me, actually, my list is slightly different than yours. I don't have a list, but it's...
Or your interpretation.
Yeah, it's about creation, destruction, self-destruction.
Yeah, self-destruction, definitely,
Cancer, mutation, growth. And some of these things, in real life, has a balance.
Yeah.
And this thing that arrives throws earthly ways of doing things out of balance. Mm-hmm. You get unregulated growth.
Yeah.
Where there's natural checks on things. You get things that die and other things that live. It's hard to understand. It's like it takes well, I say it's manipulating DNA. So it takes the DNA of all these things that it encounters and just basically reforms them.
Right, yeah.
In some weird way. There's a quote in there early in the movie where the Natalie Portman character says it's about cancer again, and it says something about the rhythm of the dividing pair. And that's a symbol, I think, for the story, and I think her and her husband, played by Oscar Isaac Kane. The rhythm of the dividing pair. What does that mean? It was a line set out on purpose.
I guess I kind of missed that. Yeah,
they're the dividing pair, right? This married couple. He goes off into the shimmer first, and then comes back in the weirdest way possible, right?
Yeah. Well, and they even show like microscopic skulls like dividing into a pair, and then her tattoo. Does she form that in the shimmer? Like she has like an 8 tattoo, which looks like a cell splitting up off from each other. Like
she does. She goes in without one and then comes out with the tattoo.
Yeah, it's strange.
The thing makes actually the forearm. Now that you're mentioning this, the forearm for some reason has some symbolism in this movie. She gets the tattoo. One of the characters that she goes in the shimmer with has like grass growing out of her forearm. You remember that?
Yeah, that was interesting.
And then before that, they were talking about, I don't know if it was her or another character who she was like a cutter. I think she was cutting her forearm. She's like, why? Do alleviate the pain? She's like, no, try to find a way to live.
Or like try to feel something. Yeah.
Oh, and she felt something because she felt grass growing out of her arm.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, that's how I got kind of depression, mental illness. Things like that.
But it's the physical and the mental working together.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. And those grass, like the grass people or whatever that was, like they saw like these figures of people and they're all just like grass, and that's obviously what Tessa Thompson became.
Right, and we see her in Thor 3,
she's
by the
great.
way.
And she's in Westworld too.
Is she?
The more I see her, the more I'm like I like her.
Like from Westworld. Was she in the first season?
One of the board members. Yeah, she shows up and is one of the board members.
Yeah, okay, now I remember. But yeah, that was great. And I'm sorry, I lost.
No, it's okay. So you were talking about like
Oh no, I wanted the plants though. That was cool. Yeah, they go into this abandoned town and she's like she figures it out. It's like the shimmer or whatever the thing that's doing all this. It's taking a human DNA form. This doesn't make sense. Why would you do that? You should grow as a plant, right? Out with branches,
right?
Not looking like a little kid.
Yeah, exactly. The visuals in this movie are great.
Yeah,
I think it's
beautiful.
Which
film.
Also in Ex Machina is great too. So it definitely, I'll give my final thoughts on this movie, but Alex Garland is definitely someone to keep your eye on. This is obviously off of a book, actually.
I think a trilogy of books, right?
Yeah, but I was reading, saw someone's review, and they said basically like he based it off the book, but he definitely had was being free with it, and
that's
made
fine.
It his own thing.
It's a movie, it's not a book. Yeah, you don't need to stay true to something.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not
and you want
film.
it to be his film.
But yeah, I do know what you're saying about mental illness, because all of these women that go in, it's 5 women, right? That go in, and their rationale is, hey, we've sent in soldiers, men, and none of them came back except for one, and let's try women.
So is that the significance of it?
I think so.
Okay, we tried all men, let's try all women. Like, why
just
not like a mixture ever?
Justification might be, a mixture might have been maybe a better idea. I don't know if they tried that.
Because that's one thing I had is just why all women, like what's that, I
think that, they're probably running out of people maybe too.
Yeah, that's true.
And motivated people. But they are all broken in some way, to your point.
Yeah, exactly. Like the one, you talk about, obviously, this movie is also, it's about, being who you once were, like reforming into someone else,
something
because
new.
you went through something. Like the one, she lost a daughter. She said, I have 2 bereavements. Like one is my daughter, one was my former self. Like I'm not the same person I used to be. Which can also go into the PTSD, which I kind of feel like they were playing off of Oscar Isaac's character.
In its own way, it's creation, right?
Yeah.
Because you're becoming someone new. And whether that's through experience or through some strange alien thing that's manipulating you, it actually is kind of the same.
Yeah.
It's something new.
That's true.
It's something different. It's you're being transitioned. But what we see is that this thing creates those things that are new in horrifying and disgusting ways.
Mm-hmm.
This is it borders on horror.
Yeah, definitely. Like, oh my God, that bear, when it was opening its mouth and you could hear the girl screaming.
Yeah, so this bear kills one of the characters and then somehow took on part of her spirit. Yeah, she was screaming, and so when the bear would, instead of roar, it would say, "Help me!" or whatever it was doing.
That was so creepy. Like, that's one of the creepiest things I've seen in a movie in a long time.
So I mentioned the Crosby, Stills and Nash song, "Helplessly Hoping."
Yeah,
I should probably talk about that song and where it comes in, because it's in kind of in the first couple of minutes of the movie. We see Natalie Portman at home, or she's talking to she's teaching. She makes the line about the rhythm of the dividing pair. She's some kind of
that was at the beginning.
That was in the very beginning. She was giving some lecture, and then she ends up home. She's stopped by the guy who was in Interstellar, who I really like.
Yeah.
Who was the scientist, the black guy? Yeah, just say it's black guy. I don't know his name. He's like David Gyasi or something like that.
Yes.
Or whatever. I really like this guy. I like the way he talks. I think there's something about his delivery I just love.
Right.
I loved him in Interstellar, and I liked him in this too. I'm a fan of his. I wish he was in more stuff. I think he's British, actually. But anyway,
he is.
So she's like, no, I'm going to go home and paint my room. And she's in there painting their room. You hear the song come on, and up walks Kane. He's home.
So weird. Well, yeah, because he said it's been a year. like what? Because the scientist is like, it's been a year, like he's dead. Like, cause she says, I'm gonna paint our room, and he's like,
there's no. You got to let him go. You got to move on.
Right.
But he's alive, and this is not just a song set to a scene. This is, I believe, a scene set to a song.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a line in the song about a stairway. He walks up a stairway.
Oh, yeah.
There's something about choking on hello. That's when they both embrace. Mm-hmm. This is more than just, hey, let's put this cool song to this scene. This was actually like thought out.
Even in the song, it says 1, we're alone. 2, we're three, we're together. Like it says,
it's like 1.
Yeah.
They're one. No, actually, because I've heard this song 5 million times in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
They are one person. They are 2 alone. They are 3 together. They are for each other.
For each other. Yeah.
It actually kind of tells you about the movie in a way.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's
those few lines actually kind of informs you there.
I like how that's incorporated for sure.
So you see, it's a really emotional scene because she doesn't expect him. He just walks in.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, this is powerful. And then he's sitting in the kitchen, and there's this really haunting scene of him just like. He's got this slicked back hair. I don't know if it's like a fluorescent light on him.
He
He's
looks
sitting there with a glass of water.
Ominous. Ominous.
He looks like he's like a devil sent from something. You know what I mean? Like he's gonna like kill everyone or do something. And then he's like, I don't feel good. And then he takes a sip of water in his blood. And then the next thing we see, he's in a stretcher going on an ambulance. He's hemorrhaging, having seizures.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, definitely. It's like you said, it kind of it goes to the horror feeling of it. Just like it almost seems like he's possessed or something.
Yeah.
Which it's
he doesn't know where he is. She tries to ask him, where did you go? He doesn't know where he was.
Right.
And he's like, I found you, or what? He's like, I was in the house, and then I saw you and I recognized you. Was basically his response, I think.
Yeah, it's such a weird response. So I mean, you're definitely drawn in at the start of this movie. Like, what's happening? Like, what is this? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So I will give it that.
And then they get picked up out of the ambulance by these cops, whatever, put onto the site where the shimmer is, and then he's like under incubation, and then the mission is they're sending girls in, and she's like, I'm going in too.
With Jennifer Jason Leigh,
who okay, so do you want to talk cast on this now?
Sure.
Okay. What's your
so I mean, Jennifer? I don't know. I don't know if she was the right choice for this role. I think someone else would have drawn me in more to the movie. I don't know. She kind of was throwing me off the whole time because she was just her delivery of things and just. I don't know. I'm just not a fan. I'm not a fan of her.
I'm not a fan of her either.
The way she talks and the way she. I don't know. I would. Well, I get to see someone acting and just it seemed like she was disinterested the whole time.
I'll go even further and say I'm not even really a fan of Natalie Portman.
Yeah, I'm not a big Natalie Portman guy.
I'm actually not a big fan of really much of this cast other than Oscar Isaac.
Yeah, but what drew me in she was great in this movie, though. I will say, like when she told the guy, like he said, he's been gone for a year, and then she goes back to her house and is painting, and then all of a sudden she's just sitting there crying.
Yeah.
Like, man, you feel that.
No, she did better, but in general, I felt a little bit annoyed by the cast, and it's not even just a female thing. It's just because there are men.
Even the guy who's interrogating Natalie Portman, I'm just like.
Oh, well, actually, I'll disagree with you on him. Oh. I really like him.
Isn't he from?
He was in Arrival, I believe. He was in. He's been in a few things. He was in the. I don't know if you've seen it, the Netflix series Marco Polo. He plays one of the cons. He's actually phenomenal in that.
Okay. I was scared to say it.
He was in an Avengers movie too.
I was scared to say that because I was like, I'm just gonna pick this.
He was
Asian
in Doctor
guy.
Strange.
Yeah,
I was
gonna say he's in Doctor Strange, but I didn't want to say that right away.
Yeah, you don't want to make say just because he looks Asian, that's the same guy.
It's better than you saying the black guy, from Arrival.
But I followed that up by saying I'm a fan of his. And
that's true too. Okay, cool.
Well, I hope that
we're good
came
there.
across.
But yeah, the cast, I like Oscar Isaac a lot, but I will say though I didn't think the Southern accent was necessary.
No, it wasn't. No, we talk about accents a lot.
It kind of threw me off.
No, he would have been just fine, just talking like he normally talks. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it almost seemed like they're like because he said something about God in the beginning of the film, so it was like almost like them saying like, oh, if you believe in God, you got to talk like this, and you're a hillbilly from middle America, so I believe in God. So it's like, oh, so
you can't be a decent person and just like want to love your family.
Right, yeah.
If you are that person, you have to be like a total moron. Right,
yeah, exactly.
So, you can't just care about your family and want to do the right thing.
So that's kind of the feeling I got from it. Yeah. Like, really?
I don't like that crap. I really don't. It irritates me because they're like making fun of a person that they've pretty much never met.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So the accent. I don't need it.
The movie goes as soon as they get inside the shimmer, everything gets crazy, right?
Yeah,
and they start seeing all this weird stuff. There's. I mean, I don't want to spend too much time on this.
Yeah, well, because I mean, they even something's weird with it because they even say at the beginning of the movie like you had rations for food for 2 weeks. You were in there for 4 months. What did you eat? So, I mean, there's like some sort of time warp. There's some sort of thing.
Something's going on.
But, I do want to get to, obviously the self-destruction is brought up a lot. Even like she says something about you confuse suicide with self-destruction.
He's like, nobody, she's like, nobody ever, Jennifer Jason Leigh, this is really at the end of the movie, right? I think she's like, nobody really kills themselves. They just make choices that kill them in a sense. They make a series of choices,
right?
Or you screw up your life, in a way that like makes things bad.
So that's where it made me think of depression and suicide, things like that. And even Tessa Thompson says like, you want to fight it, she wants to face it. I can't. So that's when she decides to turn herself into a plant, and basically that's someone like saying, I can't face this. That's someone when people turn to suicide and things like that. Like that's kind of what it made me think of anyways. Like it seems like that's what they're kind of hinting at, and just, and also again, the things about becoming another person, like he's not the same person literally because he's the alien at the end. But
it's like evolution.
When you go through something like, it seems like he came back from war. He was going through something, and he's not the same person he was. All the things he's seen, and it's almost like it made me think of. Sorry, I'm going on a tangent here,
go.
But it made me think of. There was this paradox I read a long time ago. Is if you replace, I think it's called like the ship of Theseus or something. If you replace every part of a boat over time, every single part of the boat, is it still the same boat once you've replaced every part?
Especially the way parts wear together and become because the ship is a collection of its parts.
I don't know why
the ship is not like each individual part.
Exactly. So
that makes sense.
I don't know why it made me think of that.
I don't know
it's just
either,
like when you change yourself, like are you still the same person? Like if you change every bit of yourself over time,
I have to say no to that.
Still the same person?
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Yeah, that's a great point.
So like when he comes back, like he's not the same person. Yeah, literally, but I think it's kind of like them touching on PTSD a little, like when people come back from war, how they're not the same person. I don't know. Just that's the deeper themes that I enjoyed about this movie.
Those are all great thoughts. Yeah, I'd have to agree. There's also something there about self-destruction. There's something that Natalie Portman says about cells, the way they reproduce and the idea of aging.
Yeah.
Because it's how it like deteriorates over time. There's actually nothing wrong with our cells, but for some reason we die.
Yeah, I think that's when he started talking about God a little.
But that has to be related in this too, because it's about that regeneration sort of a thing.
Yeah. I guess whenever she was talking about cells, like I wish I don't know if I wasn't paying attention enough, but like I was just like kind of lost. But I know there's something about those cells that matter more than I'm making it.
There's something else you mentioned just a second ago too about them losing their minds, and I think the only character who doesn't lose her head is Natalie Portman.
Yeah.
Everyone else basically sort of accepts this strange thing that's happening to them.
Right.
Like the Tessa, is that her name, Tessa Thompson?
Yeah, Tessa Thompson.
She has the grass growing out of her forearm. She's like, all right, I'm just going to be this now.
Yeah.
And she's like sort of at peace with it. And actually, I wonder if that's maybe not better to just sort of accept what's happening.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of, I don't know. I kind of just related that to suicide because right before that, again, she said how, you want to face it. She wants to fight it.
Yeah,
like people can fight their depression, fight their demons. Whereas
that's exactly
other
right.
people just kind of give up and are just like, I'm accepting my
gave
fate.
up in a sense.
Yeah.
She made a choice
but
to allow
hers was
that.
like peaceful. Like,
It wasn't like she blew her head up.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I knew what you're saying. Yeah, she allowed herself to die in that way. Do we want to talk about the most possibly horrific scene of the whole movie?
Which one's that?
The found footage.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
So they end up in this base and they see a camera set up in like a pool, a drained pool or whatever. No, they watch it and it takes place in this drained pool and it's Kane, who we'd know. And there's this other guy sitting. It's really dark. It's kind of weird. He's like, no one's really freaking out, which is in itself is freaky. What we see in a second. Kane basically carves a C.
Is that what it was? A C?
Well, it's not a hole. It's like a flap.
Yeah.
So he goes.
Oh yeah.
Top
a flap.
A C shape into this man's stomach, opens it up. He's not screaming really. He's just saying, "Oh my god, oh my god!" And then inside this man's insides is some twisting, turning.
Yeah.
Boa constrictor.
Yeah.
But like it's like a worm.
Yeah.
It's like he puts his hand inside of his abdominal cavity and feels the thing moving over his hand. It kind of looks at. They're like, yeah, he's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, they've lost everything.
This is part of the thing we don't get answers for, which is great because we can have conversations like this. And
then they find that guy. He's been like his body has been, I don't know, just ripped apart and it grew into some other thing.
Yeah.
And actually, Natalie Portman at some point says this. She looks at some growth and says this is malignant.
Oh,
and
right.
that's what I think it was. Is cancer. It's like it's bad growth.
Yeah.
It's not healthy.
Right. Well, it's weird because you said that's the most horrific scene, but the most I got out of that scene for some reason was the phrase the person who was a paramedic was. She said that it wasn't moving. It was a trick of the light.
Yeah.
Like that's the first. Have you ever heard that phrase?
No.
A trick of the light?
No.
Like, what was
like,
she saying? Like that? Just
mean like
it was like a camera, like a.
What was she referring to? The shimmer, because the shimmer creates like a prism.
Well, no, she was referring to actual, like, 'cause someone said there was something moving inside of him, and she was like, no, it was a trick of the light.
I think she was just trying to say anything she could.
Because she's kind of going crazy.
Yeah, to like rationalize what she just saw. Because it's pretty clear.
It was just the first time I've ever heard that phrase. I was like, what?
It's pretty obvious there was no faking.
Yeah, definitely.
They don't have like a Hollywood soundstage there.
They kind of kept playing on that because even when they showed the next found footage, when he eventually blows himself up, he says his like skin is crawling. Like I think even some of the girls say like their skin is moving. Like
she's like, I look at my hands and I see my fingerprints moving or something like that.
I don't know if that has to do with the age, like how they were saying how the cells age and stuff. It's like you don't recognize yourself anymore. Like I don't know if it's
you see yourself changing, and it's really weird. Because normally things change very slowly,
right? Yeah,
and you're having rapid change inside of your body. And probably gives you weird thoughts. There's all kinds of weird stuff happening to you, and how do you process that?
Yeah, but I mean,
maybe that's part of the symbolism for PTSD. You have all this stimulus, all this stuff happening, and how do you deal with it? I don't, maybe that's part of it.
So I mean, let me just say this real quick. I wasn't that excited after I saw this movie. I was just kind of, thrown off. But I will say, obviously it's given us a lot of stuff to talk about. I mean, So, I mean, when a movie could do this, I have to give more credit, to it, for doing that. I mean, it brings up these questions. So
it's also just a beautiful movie on its own.
Yeah, no, definitely. You want to talk about the ending, how they, reunited and what that was all about?
Yeah, I mean, but you feel like you were going to say something there, and then you didn't.
No, I was just gonna say, like, at first, after seeing this movie, I didn't,
So now
like it. Now that we're talking about it, I'm liking it more.
So before I walked into this house, you were like, "This thing is not so great."
No, no, because I had notes about, like, I enjoyed things about it, but the more I talk about it, it's like, okay, I can.
There is a lot you can grab.
Yeah, that's why I hate when, you can't you have to let movies digest.
Yeah.
You have to, think about it. Like, don't just be impulsive about your judgment of art and things like that.
And it's tough to do.
Yeah,
especially when you have a podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
it really is.
I've definitely fallen, not victim. I've guilty of that.
And it's hard to say I don't like this movie sometimes, especially when you're doing a show on it.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Although we try to filter, through. It's rare we're going to do one where we both say stink. I'm sure
we should do a Battlefield Earth type episode again. I mean, those were fun.
Yeah, I might just for randomness.
Exactly.
Just to crap on a movie. But yeah, let's move on to the end. So she finally makes her way to the lighthouse. This is sort of a big debate that was going on between the women. As they're finding, the deeper they get, the worse things get. But yet, they're not, like I think Natalie Portman says, I don't know what turning back means. I'm going to go back where? And to what? Because it's not. None of this is normal. It's not like, oh well, I'll just reverse, turn around, and go back.
Like
up the
she's
highway.
never going to be the same again.
No, or maybe you can't get out.
Yeah,
we don't know. Maybe there is no exit.
Oh, you mean like when they're still okay? Yeah.
Well, what they're talking about when they get to that point, they're like, should we push on to the thing or should we go back?
Right.
Going back, we don't know what going back is. So we might as well just go forward. We're already. They start realizing. I think Natalie Portman takes a sample of herself and looks at it in a microscope. Mm-hmm. She could already see it splitting. Right. Getting weird. She's like, it's in me. So I guess this is just going to happen. She gets to the lighthouse. This is weird. She's on the beach. Everything. It's like a crystal or snow trees.
Again, this is
ice trees.
This is one of my favorite parts of the movie. Just like the shot wise, it looks awesome.
She runs into Jennifer Jason Leigh, who had arrived before her, just a couple of minutes, right?
Yeah,
because she's down in this hole where the meteor crashed, and then she starts saying the things you were saying about what was all that the whole thing about? Was she talking about? No, she didn't talk about suicide there, but she started going on about it's different. I don't know what.
Yeah, I know. I can't remember exactly what she's talking about, but it's man.
Now she has cancer. The Jennifer Jason Leigh character.
Oh yeah, she actually has cancer. Yeah.
So that's where I'm thinking this movie is some sort of a cancer metaphor.
Yeah, I could see that too.
This thing that landed is cancer.
Yeah.
And it does what it does to everything. It grows incessantly.
Yeah. It
destroys or changes everything in its path. So I think that's maybe a partial answer to what's going on in the movie.
Definitely.
But yeah, so Jennifer Jason Leigh gets subsumed by this thing.
Yeah, like when you first see her down there, she's like got her face covered in something.
She's got her eyes are...
Yeah, no eyes.
There's like skin flaps over her eyes. And then, how cool is the sound here? You have that like golden orb. It's like whatever it's doing. Yeah,
definly cool sound in this.
The sound is cool in this whole movie. Yeah, absolutely. It's very like scary.
Like sci-fi wise, the looks like this is the best they come. Really, I mean, this is a great sci-fi looking movie.
Yeah. Oh, and then she finds the footage of Kane who. God.
Oh yeah, that's where he blows up himself.
She's looking at this camera and he's sitting there with like a phosphorus grenade talking to someone. You don't know who he's talking to. Blows himself up, incinerates himself, and then it looks like Kane walking back.
Yeah. What?
Yeah. We get a sense of what's going on by Natalie Portman telling us you get duplications, you get mutations, you get all this weird stuff happening. So there was a duplication of Kane. The Kane that we thought was the human Kane dies.
Yeah.
I don't know, call him a replicant, but clone.
The refraction. Yeah. Because it's saying it was a prism and like refractions of things.
That's the Kane we see in the beginning, which is a copy.
Yeah.
I wonder why you're confused. Oh, and then I didn't even mention this when they're walking through that abandoned town where they have the plants that look like people. Mm-hmm. They go into a house that is the same house that Natalie Portman is in. It's her same.
Oh, yeah,
there's a shot there of the stairway.
I was wondering because then they did a flashback to like her in her house.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was wondering like what if the flashbacks at certain times meant something or like.
I just don't know.
At first, I was like, "Oh, great! Is this going to be an interstellar thing where he's sending messages to his house like it's right there?" But
don't think so. I briefly had a theory that he never actually made it out. Yeah. What he actually did was he went to that house and somehow it teleported him to the Natalie Portman.
Yeah, almost kind of like
the
Stranger. There was actually Stranger Things feel to this movie
like
too.
A portal.
Like, yeah, like kind of how like Stranger Things, like if you're in the upside down, like when you're walking through, like the real world knows when you're walking through too.
Yeah.
The lights and stuff. So yeah, I could see that.
That's what I got from his dialogue because like I went up the stairs, I saw you and I recognized you. It was very like I can imagine him doing that in The Shimmer and then all of a sudden being home and not really realizing that's her.
I could see that happening. Yeah.
Down in the kitchen being like, I don't know how I got here. I don't
right. Yeah.
Where I am. Yeah. But so I'll let you take this because I've been going.
No, I mean,
forever.
so yeah, I mean, Jennifer Jason Leigh's down there. She, says stuff which I kind of wish I had wrote those down of what she said, but basically, she kind of like disintegrates into this organism /
It's like sparks that then form into this larger fiery thing that then becomes
which this is kind of like the acid trip of the film where Natalie Portman's like staring at it and can't look away and like blood comes out of her eye and goes into it, so then they get her DNA and are able to recreate her and this like
but not quite at first though.
It's like it's slow, it's slow, like
in some human form.
It's like it's like a refractive like looking thing.
It's like blue or gray and like
but it's
shiny.
But Natalie Portman's trying to like walk around it and the thing's like doing like exact movements like a mirror almost. And she tries to get out the door and the thing
it like smothers her. It's not attacking her per se.
Yeah, it's just doing what she's doing.
Replicating,
Right. Which is creepy too. Like that whole thing was like, ooh,
and then she eventually figures out.
Yeah, I could see why. Because I was reading some reviews and people were just like, oh, this is they said the ending is so stupid, but it's just like I could see that though, just like how people could give up on it then because it's just like
this movie's not going to spell anything out.
See where it goes. Yeah.
It's not even at the end. I mean, it's not going to say, "Oh, this is why they did this." It's never going to tell you that.
Yeah,
because there probably isn't even an answer.
No, definitely not. But yeah, I mean, basically, then Natalie Portman somehow gets a grenade and hands it to the thing.
She figures the replicating, and you just got it in a hand, and you reach out your hand, and I put it.
And at that point, it fully turned into exactly what Natalie Portman really looks like. And then it explodes.
Grenade goes off, explodes.
And then she sets everything on fire. It destroys the Shimmer.
Now, do you know why the creature, I'm just going to call it a creature, the alien copy, whatever. The grenade doesn't just blow her up, or I'm thinking her, I don't know. It catches on fire, and then it decides to torch everything.
Yeah.
Why does it do that?
I think it has something to do with what they kept saying. The whole movie is just self-destructive, everything is we're all self-destruct. Well, not all, but people can be self-destructive, and I think that kind of is playing off of that.
So did Natalie Portman like beat it by not succumbing to self-destructiveness by being who she is, and then she like defeated it in a sense?
I guess.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's one of those things. Yeah, where
just leave it open.
You have to interpret it. Yeah, I mean.
And that's
you're asking a lot of your audience, which is it's good for the world today. People want everything spelled out for them, spoon fed to them.
I agree. I think that's kind of what made me want to do this movie because it's a challenging movie.
Right.
It's interesting.
Absolutely, definitely challenging. Which is definitely I give a lot of credit to Garland here.
Now, in terms of stars, what would you give this movie? Because we're pretty much here at the end.
Well, so her and Oscar Isaac reunite. He says he doesn't think he's what's his name?
Kane.
Kane.
She goes, "Are you Kane?" He's like, "I don't know."
And he says, "Are you Lena?" And
they both have that.
Yeah, she has a glimmer. So when we know,
we assume
she's the right Natalie, but I think that goes to. You're not the same person anymore. You're not the same person after you go through these types, some sort of situation like this,
created
traumatic
something
event.
New. Yeah. Well, we know also when she was in it that it changed her in some way. Yeah. Even though that thing killed, like you said, she is someone different, and maybe that's just a symbol. Yeah. A symbol of the experiences that we go through.
Right.
How it changes us, like you're saying. Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. I think because. Yeah, it kind of ends abruptly, which is good.
It's okay.
Yeah, that's allow your audience.
They threw so much at us.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not a very long movie, I don't think. I mean, it's 2 hours.
Yeah, it's not 2.5 hours. It's like 2 hours 10 minutes.
Yeah, 15 maybe.
It's not terribly long.
It's not pushing your attention too much, right?
Right.
There's enough here for you at least to look at.
Yeah, exactly. But in terms of stars, I mean, again, the more I talk about this, I actually boosted this up a little. It's just some of the things, were kind of some spots seemed a little pretentious and was just like it seemed like they were trying too hard. And
do you
then
want to
some
think
of the
more? Let me go first. Are you ready?
The delivery for Jennifer Jason Leigh, some of the things it was like how. What did Natalie Portman say about DNA? Oh, it doesn't just have, they're duplicating plant DNA and animal DNA, all DNA. And then the one girl says, "What do you mean all DNA?" And then Jennifer Jason Leigh says, "She means us." It's like, well, no shit. Yes, I think that's what she was getting at the whole time. I don't know, just things like that kind of irritated me.
The dialogue wasn't great, and I think I actually sent you a text a couple days ago saying the movie is good despite
I know what you mean now by that.
Despite the acting.
Despite the acting, which
it's actually
makes sense. Yeah.
It's really the story and visuals and atmosphere is phenomenal, but it does suffer from not great cast.
Yeah, exactly. I originally had it at 2.5, but I'm going to give it 3 stars out of 5 and 2 buckets of popcorn.
Okay.
It's probably not a movie I'm going to keep revisiting.
Yeah.
It was a little tough to get through. I could kind of notice the length a little, and some of the acting just was kind of iffy to me. But yeah, it's thought provoking. So I give it more credit now that I've talked it out. And yeah, what do you give it?
Yeah, I agree with every critique you have. I agree, but again, because it's so thought provoking, because it's so interesting and challenging, and makes you try to figure out what's going on, not in like a puzzle way, but just like it's interpretive. So it's like you get back what you put in some ways. If you're hurting in some way, you identify with a character that's hurting. But just to wrap up though, to give a rating, I give it 3.5 stars. I think I like this one a bit more than you, and I'm going to give it 3 buckets of popcorn. I didn't feel the length in this one. I really enjoyed almost all of it.
Yeah.
On a rewatch, actually, the only things I didn't really care for were the really action violent scenes. There's a scene with a big crocodile or alligator because it's Louisiana, and the one with the bear was crazy, but it was a bit drawn out there. Just the initial attack and then the second attack. That was kind of
that's where
and some of the
just the best part of it, the bear, was the screaming.
The screaming, yeah. Some of the pettiness between the female characters, that got annoying.
Another annoying thing was just how she wins the bet because she betted you were a biologist. She bet you were a biologist. It's like, whoever guesses that out of someone's profession.
Nobody cares.
Like, are you kidding me?
What you need is just get rid of the chicks and have men, and then it'll be a good movie.
Yeah. That would probably be 4 stars if it was men. Kidding.
I like this one a lot. I'm glad we did it.
And, I mean, it's good to see different movies like this,
and a recent one.
And I definitely recommend Ex Machina. Definitely check that out.
I will for sure.
I think you would appreciate that, and I think Alex Garland has, he's someone to look out for now.
Quick question: is that as confusing as this one, or is it straightforward?
No, not at all. Okay. It's more straightforward, but it's still, you can interpret a lot, and it's quite thought provoking. It's short too. It's only about an hour and a half.
My final
Domhnall Gleeson's in that, and Oscar Isaac. Domhnall Gleeson, he plays your favorite character from Star Wars: Force Awakens and Last Jedi, Hux. General Hux.
Oh, that guy was annoying. He was good in this?
Oh yeah, he's definitely good in this.
My final thought is that I don't like confusion for confusion's sake.
Right. Which sometimes this movie felt like.
It does a little bit because it's not perfect, but there are good themes in this, and there's enough good stuff to take from this. It's not a perfect movie,
right?
But it's ambitious, and I like ambition in filmmaking. No,
definitely, yeah. I mean, you don't want to watch the same thing over and over. Yeah. I'm excited for Infinity War to come out. The Avengers movies, things like that. But it's just like it is essentially the same thing.
This was a nice change up, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, I'm glad we watched it, and glad we talked about it.
For sure.
Where can they find you on Twitter, Dave?
You all can find me at Dave_Quist.
I am at BCcore. Be sure to check out our YouTube channel as well. Subscribe to us, leave comments, review us on iTunes, all that jazz. And we have a Patreon as well. So if you want to become a patron and support the show, we'd
Please
appreciate that. So we can buy more T-shirts.
It's really just a T-shirt budget. That's all we're asking for here.
Yeah, that's all we want. All right, folks. Well, that is it for us. For Davo, I'm Ben Secord. And as always, grab some popcorn, grab some snacks. We'll catch you guys
at the movies.